So now we'd like to move over to the implementation of Integrated Veterans Network and then the contracts under there called Community Care Network. Now this was kind of near and dear to me because I was first diagnosed at Phoenix VA in 2015, right in the middle of all of the publicity and the scheduling issues and that sort of thing, and was actually outsourced, or I took myself out because I had my own insurance. Came immediately back in, and come to find out, we have a shortage of radiation oncology sites in the VA. There's 171 VAs. We only have 41 sites that actually can deliver radiation treatment. So, Alicia, how are you seeing the use of, I know Hines is very well outfitted with all of the latest and the greatest, right? But I think there's surrounding VAs that you probably assist with the community care aspects of things. And now with the introduction of all this new precision imaging with PET-CT and PSMAs and all of these new things coming online, how are you seeing that being integrated into your care plans? And are people understanding it, that it's a separate pot of money, that it doesn't affect the referral funds inside the actual medical center?
I'm not sure how much they understand of that aspect,
right.
Because I don't quite fully understand all the nuances that go into that myself. When I have to deal with them, I navigate my way through as best I can. But we're fortunate at Hines to be outfitted the way that we are, but because I'm in a clinical trial and I do liaise with other sites, I do understand that they don't have those same capabilities. Turnover is high at some in some radiation oncology departments across the VA, which has a trickle-down effect in what the care that we can deliver. There are challenges. I have a participant in our clinical trial who started at our location, but then moved, and he's now at another VA that does not have those same capabilities that we had. So it was nothing short of a witch hunt trying to get him exactly what he needed, based on the protocol requirements. And we were able to do it, but it was outside the window. So it was a protocol deviation, but not through any fault of our own. It was the capabilities of the places that we were trying to refer him to, and they're backlogged. So even though we started, in plenty of time, or so we thought, in order to get these things done within the window, because of the constraints of community care entities and what they're able to do, they just couldn't get us in a timely manner. So it's difficult sometimes. But, once we kind of navigate our way through it one time, then we just we try to be a little bit more proactive the next time, even if it means starting even further in advance to make sure we are getting them within the window. So it's challenging, and we do our best to navigate through it so that it doesn't affect the patient or has as little as impact on them as possible.
Well, and I'm sure that with the shortage of facilities, are you seeing efforts to actually market to these facilities, or to, I say advertise or market, but to solicit them and educate the outside clinics that you want to go to, because you don't want to go to everyone, they don't have the capabilities, but the ones that do, I think the manufacturers all know where their devices are. I think that's something that could help with the integration of this capability, is to get the manufacturers to help us advertise that this program is available and that it's needed for everything from trials to regular treatments to scans and that sort of thing. So are you seeing Hines, are people reaching out to the community and trying to find and solicit guys to sign up for the program?
Yes, at Hines, and but even more so, I think we've had that issue at other sites that are kind of closer in proximity to some of these community-based organizations or entities. So yes, there is a push for it. It's ever evolving. So again, we're just trying to do our best to identify these. And like you said, I think that is a great strategic partnership, getting with the manufacturers who know where these machines are, and we can just kind of better collaborate with them to deliver the care that we need to our participants and veterans.
Well, this also tends to address some rural needs and some rural care needs. And Rachel, I was going to ask you, where where are you in R&D as far as the telemed and certifying telemed help or virtual tumor boards, or what's the status, or are there programs ongoing to try to further that, to get that care out into the rural communities?
So on the clinical side, I have to tip my hat to my colleague, Dr. Mike Kelly, who leads the National Oncology Program Office. They really have set that as a goal right from the outset. And the goal has been to get veterans the best care available no matter where the veteran lives. And so they've been very actively using tele-oncology and also having virtual tumor boards so that people everywhere can have their cases discussed. On the research side now, Mike Kelly is working with our office to set up a protocol or process for decentralized clinical trials or virtual clinical trials so that we can bring the trials closer to where the veterans are. And I think that that is going to be an important part of achieving Mike's vision of bringing the best cancer care available to veterans wherever they live.
Yeah, it's a big issue. I mean, we're sort of at a disadvantage of not having enough equipment, but then having guys that are out in the rural areas and that they all need to have the same treatment, and we try to get that to them. And that's one of the things that we as an organization try to advertise, or try to get guys to don't walk away. We'll try to get you the care, or we'll try to find you where the care can be had. And I know that the whole telemed thing is really, I think the VA is probably leading the way on a lot of the telemed technologies that are out there. So, I mean, that's a plug for the research that's been done, but also the capabilities inside the VA. I don't think a lot of industry understands, because you don't advertise very well. That's one of the things that the VA will talk about here in a second. But it's, I think it's with community care. I mean, people need to understand there's $100 billion appropriated for that program. That's appropriated. It wasn't just talked about, it was out there. So it's over a 6-year period. So you're looking at $16 billion a year. And while a lot of that has gone off to take care of veterans' homes and for long-term care and that sort of thing, there is still money available. And this is a plug for industry to look at, to get involved in community care, to understand what it's about, to help us spread the word to find qualified and good clinics. I mean, we don't just want every clinic, we want the best clinics. Think about if you were going to send your dad or your vet to that clinic, would it be adequate? And I also think that there's a point where maybe we need to think about asking these guys to get involved in more of the clinical trials. I know that there are trials ongoing in the VA that aren't in the outside world, and there's some inside, right? And so that are mixed. So I was going to ask Rachel real quick on a follow-up is, where are you, or how are you advertising clinical trials for patients now for your research programs?
So it's wonderful to be sitting here with Alicia, because you really have the place where the rubber meets the road with Alicia, and you're interacting directly with the veterans. And then my job is based in Washington, D.C., and we try to set policies and build infrastructure that will make Alicia's job easier. And so some of the things that we're doing are to be more proactive in reaching out to veterans who are a better match for trials. Now, Alicia may be doing that at her site, but as you said, for this to be operational across a system of our size, we need tools and processes that can be used across all different sites. And so one of the things that we're doing on the research side of the house is something called IMPACT, which is matching to accelerate clinical trials. We're starting with 20 oncology clinical trials and proactively looking through VA's databases to find people who are a good match. The next piece is that, again, a shout out to the partnership we have with the National Oncology Program Office, is they're establishing clinical trials nurse navigators to help people navigate that process for kind of when you get to the end of the clinical pathway, there's still hope there. There are clinical trials, and you need help navigating those as well. And so, again, a shout out to our partners in the National Oncology Program Office for doing that.
That's great. One of our sponsors of the roundtables is a small company called Massive Bio, and I'll give a shout out to Massive Bio, and we'll follow up on this. But they are funded by NIH and NCI to provide. They have AI that they've built that tears apart clinicaltrials.gov, and so they pull that apart, and you call in. Having done this, call in and they give you a nurse navigator that follows you all the way through to introduction to the PI. And so it's now trying to advertise and market that capability. It's something very good that a lot of us have used, and because we don't have one inside the VA at the moment that's active and whatever. So when vets come to us asking, what can I do? We push them to Massive Bio, and the nurse navigators will take them through the rest of their journey. So it's something to think about, and I'll talk to you about it as well. But how are you looking for clinical trial subjects right now? I mean, you're not going through looking at all their records and trying to find the guys. Or how are you doing that?
Well, actually, luckily, because we have the imaging capabilities that we have, I'm able to screen from that list specifically, and we actually get a lot of referrals that way. We also liaise with other clinicians, urologists, hem-oncologists, and we get referrals that way as well. And it's actually been working really well for us at Hines, literally just screening that list. I have a few potential participants that seem eligible that are waiting for when Abhi returns from his vacation. So we're always actively screening that list. We're, again, trying to always find ways that work, even if it's adopting a method that another trial is using. One thing that we found, Abhi actually recently made a video kind of explaining our clinical trial in layman's terms, maybe a 5-minute video. But we also created a QR code for that, and we have included that in correspondence. We've included it on investigator brochures, so it just kind of makes it a little bit easier for the potential participant to get to that information and have it at their fingertips, basically. And that's our goal. We want to make our trial as user-friendly, for lack of a better word, as possible. So, we're always trying to, spread the word, get the word out, and mainly that's done, within the VA. We haven't done a whole lot of external marketing.